pockets. My father drank. And some of you may be thinking, Ash, you're sort of my own. But statistics tell me that there will be people in this room who understand exactly what I mean when I say, my father drank. My father drank the meals we should have eaten and the clothes we should have had on our backs. My father drank Christmases and birthdays and every last penny of my first Holy Communion money. My father drank until he could no longer keep his demons in check, and he would say and do unthinkable things that he could never remember and we could never forget. My father drank. He would get his brew on a Monday, leave my mother's housekeeping on the second-hand kitchen table because God forbid that he should place it in her hand. On Wednesday he would ask for half of it back. On Friday he would ask for the second half. On Saturday he would raid our piggy banks, and on Sunday he would owe half the bar a pint. My father drank. As an adult looking back, I can only conclude that my mother raised us on air. But he would leave the house at 11 on a Saturday. And by lunchtime, the walls of the house had begun to breathe, and by mid-afternoon, we had begun to breathe with it. And my mother would pull out the record player, housed in a bright orange case, and we would play the Kinks and the Beatles and Elvis Presley, and my sister and I would sing "When I'm 64" so loud our throats scratched. We would put on fluffy slippers that we knew slid on the tiled kitchen floor, and God bless my mother, she did her best to teach us to jive. My mother bought cardigans from jumble sales, and she would rip out the wool and save the buttons, which meant that we had the best button box in the whole of our street. She would reknit the wool into 10-centimetre squares. On Saturday afternoons we would lay them on the tiled kitchen floor, and my mother would tack them together because later she would stitch them to make blankets for our beds. My mother ran the bath at 6:30. My sister and I sat in each other's grime. We washed our hair in this rank brown liquid called Polytor that my mother got free from the chemist because my brother had eczema. 7 o'clock found us sat in front of a coal fire as Mum wielded a fine metal comb through damp hair, root to tip, in search of knits that she never found. And we would watch Morecambe and Wise, drink ginger cordial from wine glasses, eat heart-shaped sandwiches made with a cookie cutter and sliced oranges sprinkled with sugar. And my mother would watch Morecambe and Wise and read a Mills and Boon and stitch our blankets and hold a conversation and drink a cup of tea and smoke Players No. 6 all at the same time. At 6 and 8 years old, we had heard the battles that went on in our home. My father's words were already planted in my mind like primed grenades, and the wounds he inflicted on my mother were already teaching me, hold fire, lie low. But we had not yet seen the war, not yet been in the trenches. But in the war in which we were raised, my mother made pockets. Pockets where calloused hands on damp hair calmed the storms within us, where fluffy slippers became blue suede shoes, where heart-shaped sandwiches were quite literally the best things in sliced bread, where knitted squares of wool became more valuable than rubies, more precious than diamonds. And later she would drape these squares around our shoulders and say, "Night, night, close your eyes, shut tight." And we would close our eyes shut tight, and we would wait on the war.